introducing Lea Llovio, gifted. I mean, you do it all. I mean, you basically bridge real medicine with the universe and, being one with your spirit and guidance in that sense, right? A little bit of that.
Yes.
I want you to explain it because I tell you the truth, my mom is going to be all over this episode.
Oh,
because she's very spiritual and believes that, the brain and the spirit can heal just like medicine or a drug can. There's a lot, power of positive thinking. And I believe the same thing. I'm a big universe guy. Like it's just not one thing. Like
absolutely,
you can will the body to do things. You can will the body to, pick up a car. You can will the body to run through a wall. You can will the body to, whatever. We can do that with healing as well. So
you are 100% correct. And so is your mom.
yeah.
And what I created is something called conscious wellness.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I call it the dance between scientific medicine and spiritual medicine. Because just like you were saying, it's not one thing. No. And what happens sometimes for people in the spiritual world is sometimes they think, oh, I'm just going to meditate. I'm just going to use my mental powers to heal myself. And sometimes they run into trouble with that. Mm-hmm. And you see a lot of healers, for example, that are actually not physically well. And it's because they're taking on the suffering of the people that they work with sometimes, especially if you're very empathetic. Mm-hmm. And most people, whatever it is that you're doing in wellness, whether you do have a peptide company or a light therapy or a hospital, for some reason, at some point, you decided you're going to save some lives. Mm-hmm. You're going to help people heal. I mean, that is really the purpose of any healing modality. And so sometimes those people, if they are not taking care of themselves physiologically as well, they take on the grunt because they're doing it because they're empathetic and they want to help people. And so they have to learn how to incorporate the scientific medicine as well. And really both matter very much. And in fact, mm-hmm. I consider scientific medicine the most spiritual thing there is on the planet.
I mean, think of what we did. I think that stress kills more people on this planet than almost anything else. And that's not something you're eating. That's not something you're taking. That's the body dealing with life and not knowing how to deal with it. And you create stress and it kills you. It mm-hmm. leads to heart issues, brain issues, gut issues. That's a spiritual thing, right? Absolutely. To be able to process mm-hmm. and let things go to be healed.
100%. And the thing about the body is that the body interprets stress as stress, and it doesn't care where it's coming from. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't know what kind of house you live in. It doesn't know what your relationships are. It doesn't know if you are taking care of your body or not. What it knows mm-hmm. is that it's stress. Mm-hmm. And just like you and I were talking about earlier about just having this radical self-acceptance, right, of who you are and how you have that in you, right? You're like, this is who I am. This is what I do, and take it or leave it. And that's one of the studies that they've done recently in the blue zones, that it's not just the food and it's not just getting all the steps in. It's also that they don't have the stress. But why don't they have the stress? They don't have the stress because they say, hey, this is who we are. This is our lifestyle. We accept ourselves the way we are. Oh, sure, we mess up every so often and we do things we're not supposed to, but they have that self-acceptance, and that relieves so much stress.
Okay. You show me a study on drinking, how it kills you. I'll show you a study on how people that drink, like just to have like a glass of wine or something, actually live longer than people that don't drink. Right. There's balance in everything, the yin and the yang, your aura, whatever you want to, whatever makes you believe or get into, you just got to be able to balance life. And things aren't necessarily bad if you don't agree with them. Right. Some people are like, drinking is evil. Drinking's bad for you. Well, I don't know. Like to have a glass of wine with a friend for their birthday and to enjoy that with a meal, I don't find that a horrible thing. And you know what? That laughter and that, that entertainment, that beautiful memory that you build, the maybe thinning of your blood slightly with all the fat that you just ate with that dinner to help it flow through the body a little easier, might actually be the thing you need to live a little longer, right?
100%. And that
don't drink 10 bottles.
Yes, exactly. Try not to. But here's the thing, going back to the stress, if you have that glass of wine, or even if you go out drinking, or even, God forbid, you had a cigarette in your life, the thought about this is going to kill me that will kill you faster than the
Mhm.
actual molecule or chemical or alcohol that you're consuming, more than that itself, because it's really what you think about it. So you
See what you
can
did there.
layer, yes, you can
I see what you
layer
did.
stress over stress over
Yeah.
stress, right? So that's why we work a lot on radical self-acceptance. You're going to try your best. You're going to say, hey, I'm going to have this diet. I'm going to work out this many days a week. I'm going to limit alcohol to this or that. And then let's say you don't, you have a wild weekend. And if you get to Monday and you're like, oh my God, what
You're
have I
beating
done?
yourself up.
Yes. Now you've 10x the stress that you put on your body versus if Monday comes and you're like, wow, well, I had a great time. Maybe I shouldn't do that every weekend, but I'll get
Yeah,
a
that
little
was
better
fun.
each time.
Yeah. No, I really do believe that. And that's a great way to put it. I've never actually thought about it that way, where when you beat yourself up afterwards for something you do. Now, obviously, if you did something really bad,
Don't do it.
you shouldn't have done it. And you know what?
Yeah.
Sometimes that stress will hopefully trigger something like, I don't want to do that again because I don't want to feel that way.
Right.
Because stress is a feeling, like
Yes.
the anxiety, sleeplessness,
Mhm.
I mean, it makes you sick. Like I'd say, like I don't get sick very often, but I feel like the times that I do is when I'm generally really worked up about things I can't control, and it drives me nuts. Not that I need to control everything, but when I feel like I'm doing all the right things and things aren't going the direction they, in my opinion, should be going, that's when I truly get stressed because I'm a people pleaser. So when I'm like trying to do the right thing and people just don't want to listen or don't want to accept and want to, try and push back, and I just don't know where next to go, that's when I usually find myself like tired, worn out. Whereas going out and, having fun with the friends and working 15 hours a day on projects that I love to do, that will never wear me out. I'll have more energy than ever before. Like I can work 20 hours in a day and I'll do that for 6 weeks straight. If the projects are fun, like the things are going right, I don't ever really get tired.
Right. Because you're inspired.
Yeah.
So you're in spirit. Right.
Yep.
And this is why I say that many people in the medical field and wellness are the most spiritual people that there are, because they're inspired, right? They're inspired to create something to help humanity. They're inspired to create a new therapy, a new combination of a molecule that's really going to help elevate people. And that all starts with the thoughts, just like you were talking about being a people pleaser. And when you really get stressed is when things don't go well because you're really trying to help people. All of this starts in the thoughts. And this is why I try to work with people on thought processes more than in the beginning. For example, people say you have to meditate and you have to sit down and be quiet and be in touch with your heart and
That's
meditate. Really yeah, exactly. And that is what the people that I work with, they're very much like you. They go, go, go. They're traveling all over the world. There's 15 and 20-hour days sometimes. And they're inspired in spirit. And then people tell them, well, in order to manage your stress, you need to sit down, shut up, and meditate and get in touch with your heart. And they all say the same thing, like, that's impossible. If I'm trying to sit there, I just feel bad about myself because now I'm like, oh, I can't get in tune with my heart and I can't shut my mind off. Where I like people to start to just engage their thoughts and dance with their thoughts and become best friends with your thoughts, and be curious about, okay, I'm people pleasing here, but where's that coming from? Because I really want to help people. So is it so bad? Maybe it's not so bad. We live in a world now where everyone's like about have your boundaries, don't let people take advantage of you. Make sure you've got your tribe. That creates a stress in the body. If your nature is to be a giving person and to help people, if you embrace that instead of fighting against it, you will be far more healthy than you've ever been, because it's more of that war against who we are that actually, again, creates the stress in the body. So it's what we think about, what our innate desires are, who we are as human beings. And when we can really just say, this is the person that I am, and live our life with some regrets, that's okay to have some regrets. Not have any regrets, that's okay too. But for example, for people that are people pleasers or just very kind and generous, if they feel like, what, I gave what I gave, I did what I did, if they accept it, if it helped them, good. If they never do anything good for me, who cares? I did what I wanted to do because it made me happy. This is real freedom.
Yeah.
This is when you don't get sick. It's when you're struggling with yourself because society is saying that we shouldn't be people pleasers or we should have very strong boundaries.
Get off of Instagram. Stop listening to what everybody else says you should be or shouldn't be.
100%. That's the number one place right now that, people talk about these boundaries. And I say, you know what? What about if you don't have boundaries for a day and you're just very kind and generous to everyone you run into for a day and you don't care what happens as a result of it and you're just kind?
Hey, trust me. I sometimes I have like my thought process. I have the resting dickhead face. I'll say not resting bitch face, but resting dickhead face every once in a while because I'm like so in tune, and I have this natural like brow thing that like kind of looks like I'm angry, but I'm not. I'm just thinking. But it's so funny when I might look like that, but when people talk to me, they obviously know I'm not upset or I'm not angry about something, but I'm just thinking. And like even this morning, like I went to it's like 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm at the airport and I go and I get I love that you can get protein coffee now.
Mm.
So I'm like, all right, 30 grams of protein in my coffee in the morning. So I get that. And I'm like, okay, I'll just get a bagel with some butter to get some carbs in me because I wanted to get some work done. And, I order it and then I get to the thing and the lady's like, oh, we don't have any butter. Do you want cream cheese? I'm like, I'm not a cream cheese fan. It's fine. She's like, yeah, all right, well, let me look for some butter. And I'm like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And then, I was very nice to her about it. And then 10 minutes later, she's like, we went and looked and I'm so sorry, but there's no butter. I'm like, don't even worry about it. 20 minutes later, somebody comes by with butter. Like they looked through the entire freaking airport for butter this morning for me, just because I didn't get upset. Because I could see on her face, she thought that I was going to be like, give my money back or get upset. I'm like, I got her to her. I go, universe just doesn't want me to have butter this morning. It's not that big a deal. I'll manage. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, if that's the worst thing that happens today, I'll be just fine.
I love that.
Right? I just sat there and she brought me butter, had one bite left. And I go, give that to the next person that needs butter.
Yes.
I'm not going to waste it. She laughed her butt off. But, just like that actually made me feel a little better that I didn't freak out about something as stupid as butter.
Right.
But I see people do it all the time.
100%.
Oh my God. I was on an airplane the other day. I'm sorry. I'm on a lot of airplanes. The people that know me, I live
flying.
Everybody, their message is, where in the world is Trevor this morning? When they start. But I was flying this woman. I fly a lot of first class just because I'm on planes a lot and I'm a bigger guy and I work and I do not fit to
Right.
try and do it. So, I try and get deals where I can. I move my flights around so I can get that, even if it's the same price as like, premier class or whatever. So I'm sitting up there and I'm up there and this lady comes up and goes, oh, can I use the restroom? And she's like, oh, we're getting ready to take off. You might have a seat. And then 2 minutes later, somebody in first class just gets up and walks to the bathroom. Didn't ask, just went in the bathroom, right? And this lady was like 2 rows back, and she comes up with her kid and just starts ripping into all the flight attendants.
Oh my!
And you let that person, and the lady's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like she didn't even know there was somebody in the restroom. Right. You just, you wouldn't let my kid. She's like holding her kid there. Like you wouldn't let my daughter lose the restroom, screaming. I look up at this woman like that's getting berated and she has like no idea why. I'm like, sorry, she's a little crazy. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm like, this person, I don't know how they're going to live past 50 with that much like anger.
100%. Yeah.
Like someone use the bathroom, get over it. The plane takes off, come back up in 5 minutes, And if it really is an emergency, just if she would have said it was an emergency the first time, I saw her come up and like, hey, unfortunately, we're getting ready to take off. Please take a seat.
Mm-hmm.
She just like went off because of that. I think that the rules, you teach a lot about how to balance that, it seems like. And you have a lot of speaking engagements coming up.
I do.
Like, you're always talking.
Yes.
Like, how many do you have coming up? Like 10 more this year already scheduled?
I think there's about 5 coming up this year.
Okay.
But going back to your butter.
Yes.
Butter situations, this is so important. That's called having equanimity.
Okay.
Not too tight, not too loose, right? You had a desire, but you weren't going to hold on to that desire so hard that it was actually going to ruin the way you were going to digest that bagel. And so this is so important to have that in life of, we are in health and wellness and we are around a lot of people that have very precise needs on their diet, on, getting their light in the morning and the circadian rhythm perfect.
Jay Campbell for that.
Yes, it's wonderful.
He's got his grounding shoes on all the time.
Yes, and it's beautiful if you can have everything perfect all the time. But what is the point of getting physiologically optimized? Is that so that you do have grit, so you are resilient, so that when you don't have all the bells and whistles and the ability to get your light in and have as much protein as you wanted that day or as many carbs as you needed for your workout, that you can muscle through life, that you can actually still do you, still do your life.
And accept it and have fun and not have to worry about it.
And not have to worry about it and not think, oh my gosh, I did not get my protein. Oh, I had to eat something off the airport that probably has gluten. Oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. Again, that is layering the stress on the body.
You know what's really crazy is I've actually started telling people a lot this because a lot of people look at and they ask me like, how do you stay your size? How do you stay lean all year long? And like, you must never drink. And this, and I go, no, I don't take my peptides with me when I go on trips most of the time. I do take my growth hormone because that one's a quick acting, but most of it I don't because they last too long. I throw them away. I just not routine enough to bring things and try and keep them cold through a trip, right? So I'm like, no, I take breaks. And they're like, oh, what about when you work out? I go, I just get what I can in. And sometimes I might not work out for a week or two. This is the craziest part. Every time I get that break, when I come back, I get bigger.
Interesting.
Like the rebound is way better to have the breaks. So I started telling people, I go, stop worrying about it. If you can't do it, just enjoy the fact that you want to, but you're not able to. And enjoy the time that you have, that extra 2 hours of your day that you don't have to get up, get dressed, go to a gym, sweat for an hour or an hour and a half, and then come back and get ready. Go have a breakfast. Go enjoy, sleeping next to the person that you love for an extra half hour or an hour. Mm-hmm. And I really think that little piece of like accepting that, because I used to get stressed out if I couldn't get to my gym and all that. Literally, I went from 237 when I started traveling. I had to go to Napa for a charity event. There was a cancer event. Then I went out to Thailand. I had to be out there for a business deal. And then I flew back and I got food poisoning right after. And I was 237 when I left, and I was 222 when I finally stepped back in the gym. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I lost weight. I'm like, let's see what happens. A week and a half, like roughly 10 days later, I was 247 at 3% body fat. So I was 10 pounds heavier than when I left, even though I lost 15 pounds. The body remembers because it knows I give it what it needs, like you just said, all the time. Mm-hmm. When I'm home, I'm able to get my time and I can eat my better meals.
Right.
So yeah, it got, took a setback, but the body remembers.
The body remembers, and the body is just waiting for us humans to be kind to it. So one of the things you were talking about is you were enjoying, right? Enjoyment, celebration, and not having the stress. This is so important to the cells of the body. I always say the cells of the body, they listen to what you're doing. And if you are like, oh my gosh, I did not work out today. Oh my gosh, I ate this thing with gluten. Then your cells say, something's wrong with my human. What's going on? We got to restrict. We can't do our work. But if you're just enjoying your life, you're sleeping in with your beloved, and what could be better than that? Your cells are like, oh, my human is happy. My human is enjoying life. We can do our work. We're resilient. We are not stressed out. And this goes back to the place of being a people pleaser or a person that's very giving. That's the same thing. Generosity. Being kind and generous is the best thing you can do for your health, is the best thing you can do for your cells. Every morning, if you're thinking about what am I going to do today to make the world a little bit better, to help somebody, to do something that's going to change the world. Again, your cells think, wow, my human's thinking about helping people.
Love that.
Wow, we can do our work, we can relax. But if you wake up, oh my gosh, what's in it for me? Where am I going to get mine? I have to make sure that person pays me back for what I did for them and make sure that I get mine. Your cells again restrict and say something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with my human. We need to restrict. We can't do our work. It's a stress storm.
Do you ever get stressed out?
I used to. I used
You're like,
to.
nope.
I used to because I started as an empath. I started as a very in tune with energy and spirituality from the time I was very young. And for many people like that, you have to learn again how to help people, but without taking on their suffering. Now, let's go back to the generosity part. The most generous thing you can do is help people, but not suffer with them. Because when you're suffering with people, you actually are creating an interference to the healing that you're trying to help them get to, right? And so for me, I was very stressed before because I didn't know how to manage everything that I could feel. I could see people's energy. I could feel their pain.
Yeah.
Then when I started working with people, there's a lot of suffering in the world. People do go through tremendous hardships. And, I had to learn to attach and detach from the human beings that I was helping. And when I learned to start to do that, my body also stopped being stressed out. And if my main goal in life is truly to be of service to humanity and help people, then I have to become a master of my thought processes. I have to become a master of my stress states. And when I do that, I become a master of my energy. And then you become a master of energy. And people think this is very woo, but it's actually not. In ancient times, we had tremendous healers. We had miracle workers. All we knew were miracles.
They were even called witches.
They were called witches.
Which were a good thing. But,
Right.
we look at it as like that's a scary thing now. But that was a good thing. Like that was your local, that was the witch
Healer.
of the tribe. And they had medicine, they had magic, they had whatever you want to call it. But they were just ultra in tune with that energy.
They were. And we think it's very mystical. But really what they had was thought mastery. They mastered their thoughts. They mastered their thoughts about themselves, about the environment, and about the people they were working with. They knew, I have this calling. I am a healer. I am a miracle worker. So I have to just focus on that, on the work that I'm doing. Those people didn't get sick. And many modern day miracle workers also never get sick. Why? Because they're so focused on how they may serve people, how they may help people. And so when you're focused on doing your sacred, I call it your sacred medicine. Everyone in the world has sacred medicine to offer. And it's not very mystical. I will be talking about this at the Peptide World Congress. And we're going to talk, how do we make the peptides actually work for people? And it's not just having the best protocols. It's tuning back into the healer, the person that is bringing the protocols, the person that is bringing the strategies that wants to share their sacred medicine with the world. Why do they want to share their sacred medicine with the world? Because they want to create miracles in people's lives. We just don't call it miracles anymore.
The use of miracle or that's impossible. That's how I got into it, though. I mean, I don't know if you actually know that story, because we met about a year ago at the Olympia, and thank you very much for coming out, by the way. This is like a really good one, because I'm very more in tune with this part of my life over the last 3 to 4 years, but I was not in tune with it with my life for a long time. So it's something that I appreciate coming out and talking to you. It's very enlightening for me. So it's really cool. But I got into it because I tore my bicep, and everybody that's watching this probably heard this a million times. But when I did that, I was like, I want to try and see if I can fix it without the full-blown crazy surgery the orthopedic surgeon wanted to do. And he told me, impossible. I'll see you in like 6 weeks when you get done with the physical therapy. But that's when I tried using peptides 12 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that. It's hard to remember nowadays. And so I'm injecting these random things. I didn't even know what a peptide was. I didn't know what I was sticking in my arm, but I was sticking stuff in my arm, sticking stuff in my stomach. It was, and I'm going to this physical therapist, and he's like using electrodes. I'm doing all this stuff that I'm like, what is all this crap? Scraping me. I'm like, how is scraping helping? And it's just tearing those fibers down my arm, and then the blood coming in and the recovery from it. Well, 6 weeks later, I go back and my arm doesn't require surgery. A ripped, torn, ruptured biceps is now somehow back on. And he goes, that's impossible. That's a miracle.
It is.
Right? Mm-hmm. So there's more to all this. Now, that's not that same situation, diagnosis, whatever, is not going to be the same result for everybody. Mm-hmm. But the craziest part is 15 years ago, if you went around and talked to every doctor on earth about ligaments and tendons, you could not regrow them. You needed surgery. And now you don't.
Right.
You could take BPC 157, TB 500, all these different peptides, and you can see tears recover completely within weeks without surgery. And is it always going to be the case? No. And that maybe they're not in tune with the rest of their aura and their, the rest of the spiritual side of it that's holding them back. Maybe they're just someone like, I know a lot of people that they're just sticking these things around and then they're going back to the gym. I'm like, you're just re-ripping it. Everything that peptide is doing to help you, you're back in here complaining about how bad it hurts and you're still working out. Like, stop, take the break. And that's that same thing for me where I go, sometimes you just got to wait, let it heal. And I did that for this shoulder. I tore a labrum and I slinged myself for like a month and a half and I was able to let it heal. Then I tore this one, which was a bicep tendon. And it wasn't that horrible compared to this one. I couldn't even like change the channel on my car. This one was like, it was irritating and I was losing strength, but I kept on muscling through it. And I finally said, why do I keep dealing with this? And I just took a month off.
Good for you.
And I did it. And now it's sealed.
Yes.
Right. So, relax, accept who you are, accept that you're going to take you're going to stop or take a break, concentrate on the healing piece.
Yes.
And I guarantee you, everybody that does this, when you come back, you're going to get better than you were prior. Otherwise, what are you going to do? Go get a shoulder surgery and be out 6 months? How do you think you're going to feel then?
Yes. And that is such a beautiful example, Trevor, that the miracle of healing is in the protocols, in the strategies, and in the science, right? We just didn't have the words for it in the past. They were miracles, and that's all we knew. But now we understand all the mechanisms in the body.
Yeah. A lot more than before.
100%.
Holy crap.
And the other miracle in healing is having a deep reverence for the human body and for the science. And that's what you did when you said, I'm going to take this time off, because you gave the body some reverence. You said, oh my Lord, this body is carrying me through this whole life. I'm going to revere you. I'm going to adore you and take good care of you. My bicep, my shoulder, having this reverence for the human body, for the science of being alive, for all the breathing cells, all the tendons, all the ligaments. This is what gives us the wisdom on what to do next. But if we're like, I'm just going to muscle through everything, then the body again is like, okay, I'm telling you I'm in pain here and you're ignoring me. So the body is just like a baby, right? The baby will cry. And if you ignore the baby, it's going to get louder and louder. And here's the worst part. If you let a baby cry too long, it will not trust you. And so our body is our precious child, is our baby, and it's going to cry. And if we tend to it, it's going to feel calm. It's going to be secure. We will pacify it. And then it will be able to heal. It will be able to do what it needs to do, evolve and grow into something extraordinary. But if we ignore it, then the body does not trust us. And number one, we have to create trust with the body. The body has to trust us. You know this. In any relationship, there has to be some trust. If you don't trust, then you're starting with a bunch of ickiness. Like, where do we go from here? The same thing with your body. If your body cannot trust you, your body is always in flight or fight. What is it?
Well,
fight or flight?
Fight or flight. Yeah.
Your body is always like, oh my gosh, what's he going to do next? What's she going to do next?
Well, I think that people have just abused themselves for so long. I think a lot of the people that I know that I help come from a place where they felt hopeless for a long time, or they felt that they had no options. I mean, we talk about these GLPs as like the miracle. I mean, I've been producing these for 7-8 years, right? When people had no idea what they were until the last year or two. GLP's been around for 20 years, right? We had this in our hands. We had the ability. It's just, there wasn't enough knowledge about these things. And it really comes down to, you got to want to help yourself. It's like, anybody that's an addict. Right. It doesn't matter whether or not you take away the drug or the alcohol or whatever it is. If the person doesn't want to stop. They're going to fight to get that. People need to stop and realize that they want to be better and accept that. And then just know that the path that they're going to take, it's going to be different. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to bend you to your knees sometimes. And it's going to confuse you because guess what? The path that got you to being 150 pounds overweight or got you to being broken and torn apart and ripped shoulders and knees was you did what you were talking. You fought through. Now you're going to tell yourself after 40 years of pushing through and don't stop, you're stronger. And now you got to sit there and go, I'm not that strong. I need to relax. I need to ask for help.
Yeah.
It's a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it's hard and people want to go to that and they start that. And then the ego, that repetitious mind that you've been running with for the last 30 years, 20 years, 40 years, whatever it might be, it gets a hold of you and it brings you back to what you used to do because it's comfortable or you think it's comfortable, but it really isn't. It's not good for what you're trying to achieve now. So, when people come in and they go, hey, I want to take what you take. I go, no. It took me, 12 years of messing with my body with these chemicals and proteins and small molecules and peptides and bioregulators and me really analyzing one by one how they work.
For
me. And my journey is different than your journey. And what I take now is not what I took even 5 years ago when I was still in shape 5 years ago, because everything evolves. Even now, I see the things that worked for me in the past don't work the same now. So I drop them and I search for new ways to do it. But you got to know, if you just throw a bunch of, if you throw everything in the pot, you might luck out and get a good stew.
Right.
But you don't know you won't be able to ever replicate it because you don't know what you put in that worked. It just worked, right? Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah, that time. Yeah, you go in, you take every peptide that I take, you're going to see results. There's no way around that. But you don't know if you're taking way too much of this or this doesn't work for you at all, whatever. You're just flushing money down the drain. You're burning out receptors. So it's really, you got to mindset first, make the decision, know what you're going to get into, understand that it might be a challenge and accept that. And then start slow when you start introducing things outside the body into them.
100%. I agree with you. I always tell people start with one thing.
Yeah.
One thing.
Well, you can start with two. Like if you're working on the brain and something for the body, you can do those at the same time because you're going to get different results. Mm-hmm. But don't throw 5 brain things in at once.
Right.
Don't do NAD, Cmax, Slanx, oxytocin.
Right.
Great.
You can really mess up your brain doing them all at the same time.
Yeah. Well, you're going to see like, am I feeling happier because of the Slank? Because that's what it's supposed to work. But maybe it's the oxytocin. Idea. Maybe you're happier because your cognitive function's better from the Cmax, and because you're not tripping over your words or forgetting people's names, that's making you happy. Right?
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
Maybe it's just the NAD because it's really strong. I don't know. Like you try one thing at a time and go, I didn't really get anything out of this. Or holy crap. Like, and it's crazy if you just listen at one time. You got plenty of time. Hopefully you have plenty of time left. You're young. Even if you're 50, you're young. Right.
Yeah.
Nowadays, if you're 70, you're young if you want to be.
Oh, absolutely. We have all of the molecules and peptides and therapies to live a very long and fruitful life. But going back to what you were saying about what is working for you today versus at another time in your life, just like our own consciousness and our own spirituality and our own purpose in life is constantly evolving. Just you were saying you're not the same person today, maybe that you were 3 years ago. That spirituality and consciousness has become more important to you. Well, the body's the same way. The body also wants to continue to evolve and try different things and feel even better and better. And that's why we don't do the same exact thing forever. That's why certain things stop working, because hopefully we are getting better and better and we're taking our bodies to that next level. And today it's totally possible to actually be better at 50 and 70 than you were at 20, depending on what you're doing, right?
100%. I mean, I definitely, the pencil's sharper today than it was when I was 30. Mm-hmm. And that's half a life ago, My body is in better shape than it's ever been. Now, I probably have a few things that I am abusing, like my elbows hurt right now. So I got to relax on those and figure out what I'm doing that's hurting them and give them a break. But I've actually already started that. I started lifting lighter, and now I'm having less elbow trouble, right? So those are on the mend. So, what was I doing? In realizing that I was doing X, Y, and Z that was putting me in that position. But overall, I mean, you look fit. I don't even know how old you are, but I mean, I can't imagine that, you look perfect skin, hair's great, in shape. You're in tune with who you are, and you know what works for you to be and look the way you do. And your calmness and your presence is amazing. That probably wasn't that when you're 18 or 22,
Right.
A whole different world back then.
I think it is listening to your body and getting to that point of radical self-acceptance. That, to me, is where I've seen the biggest changes. But what happens for people and why they're on this roller coaster of weight, for example, they just can't get the weight off. They get it off, it comes back on. Get it off, it comes back on. Anything addictive is, again, because they make the commitment. I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow this diet. And then they don't. And then there comes the self-loathing. There comes I just can't do it, versus that radical self-acceptance, even with eating disorders, for example. Some of the people that I've worked with in Hollywood, this is very prevalent in Hollywood because you have to be very, very thin, unfortunately, still for many women. And instead of fighting oh my gosh, I went and I ate all of this or all of that, we start to switch it to amusement. Right? To being amused with yourself. Like, okay, get a load of me. I went and I ate the whole entire, you said you eat ice cream every day.
I actually ate it twice yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. But you can handle it because you have a lot of muscle mass. But, a smaller frame woman cannot.
Or you just have to eat like one bite, and who can eat one bite of ice cream?
Yeah, impossible.
No.
So instead of saying, oh my gosh, I ate, 2 tubs of ice cream, shame on me. Well, what is it going to do to my blood sugar? There goes 5 pounds that I lost. Instead, it's like, there I go again. Okay, I did it again. That's something I'm working on, and I'll do a little bit better tomorrow. And that's that radical self-acceptance, to be more amused by what you consider your shortcomings in life.
Like that.
Versus beating yourself up.
Laughter is a cure for so much. All the bad times I've been in my life, the doctor, they can sit there and kind of make fun of you, and you just kind of get a chuckle. I mean, it doesn't matter how bad a pain you're in or whatever, it removes that for a moment. And sometimes you only need a moment to know that it can be gone.
Right.
Right. Oh, that hurts. But you're like, oh, wait, I can still laugh. Those are important things. Now, let me ask you this, because on that same line, maybe I'm crazy, but I have this weird thing. I almost welcome disaster because I like sorting out and figuring out how to fix it. Not that I want to get hit by a car or anything like that. But when I eat ice cream, instead of being like, oh my God, I'm fat ass, I just ate another tub of ice cream, I sit there and go, cool, I'm going to put an extra 15 minutes into the gym tomorrow, and I'm going to turn that fat into muscle. I look at things as challenging myself, and maybe that's just a different way, but I don't know is that something that could work for people too?
100%. I do that all the time.
Okay.
So most of us women are obsessed with the scale, but some men as well. And when I see extra pounds on there, that's exactly what I do. I'm like, okay, that's going to give me a little bit more of, whatever the glutes that I want. And I'll just do a little bit more weights while I'm this weight.
It fires me up, if I don't eat the ice cream and I eat clean, I sometimes find that I go, okay, I don't have to work out as hard today.
Right.
Which is fine because your body needs breaks too, right? But if you're, utilize the things that you find painful, and like I said, find laughter, find commitment.
Yes.
Find strength in those.
100%.
And I think what you'll do is you'll find out that you'll push yourself into another place that makes you a little bit better. Or if it doesn't work, then at least your mind, hopefully you can go, I actually do need to change this. This isn't working. But you gotta keep, don't put yourself down for it. And genetically, we're all different. There's 52 cards in a deck. You don't get a royal flush every time, right? Sometimes you get a 2-7 offsuit and a bunch of crap for anybody that likes poker, right? But that you're going to get a different deck every single time.
In your own life.
Yeah. you got to know how to play it.
100%.
So don't beat yourself up for the disadvantages, accept and learn how to overcome. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we didn't have what we have today. Like I said, the GLPs, especially retatrutide that just passed phase 3 trials, which people have been using I've been using it for 5 years. Not me personally, but I've been like using it. Like I know people that take it and all that and make it. How we made a ton of it over the years. That product is almost perfect for helping people lose weight because it's not.
Would you call that a miracle?
Well, this is the thing. I call it the miracle drug, right? And it's natural, which is the funny part. But because it, in my opinion, I think the miracle of it is that it shows so many people that thought there was no answer a way to do it. Because semaglutide, if they try, maybe they don't want to throw up all the time,
right?
And to be honest with you, it's really hard because if you don't feel like eating at all or you're sick all the time, you do need to still eat on these things.
Right.
It's about, GLP-1 was about balancing glucose in the blood and helping you with cravings, not being sick. Right. Mm-hmm. So the Ozempic face and butt and all these things that they talk about, it's not that the Ozempic, it's just your body's reaction to it. Even if you physically couldn't eat. So your body you don't get to decide, hey, take a little off here, a little off there. And, eventually you'll sculpt yourself in a way. No, it just the body, it falls off where it wants to fall off. And if it's in your face, it's in your face. So what do we do? Then the second version, tirzepatide, and there's more versions in between. There's survodutide, mazdutide, liraglutide. There's so many versions, but we have like 4 that are private, like that we're taking to drug studies right now.
Amazing.
So, the big next big one was tirzepatide, which grafted on GIP, which helped with actually keeping you feel fuller physically by increasing, stomach acid in the stomach and then slowing the gut reaction. So it was less of the throw up feeling and brain don't stop, but the body was actually like, well, no, you don't want to eat anymore because you're fuller already. And then, which still had its side effects. Then you had really bad acid reflux, constipation, diarrhea, bloating, from that, because you're physically making your body hold or slow down, right? So people that now have a food addiction that are hungry all the time, now you've let back in a little bit of that hunger piece because you should be eating. But because that I want to eat all the time is so strong, you're physically eating until you're physically sick. Now, right? Because you can't get out because you've literally slowed everything down chemically.
Yep.
And then
that's why you still have to work on the thoughts.
That's what I'm saying. You got to. It's more. Everything is more than just your body. You can't just add. I know everybody calls it once again a miracle. BPC 1057 does all these great things. It does do a lot of great things, but it doesn't just do that by itself in your body. That is utilizing a million other things for it to work. So you gotta, that's a lead component, but you gotta be nice to it. But back to the Reta, you had that third one with glucagon, and it really softened up the whole entire piece with the release of natural sugars in the blood and, the energy and, you have a little bit of thermo effect. So you were able to ease the gut thing, ease the tendency to feel nauseous and allow it to you're like, okay, I can eat. I just don't eat as much and I still enjoy my food, but my cravings aren't as bad. It just was way more balanced. And now we have a fourth one that we're doing. I'm sure other people are doing the same thing that will actually help develop more muscle mass, which will then burn calories.
Is that mazdutide?
No, we actually call it lepto.
Oh, okay.
So we're doing human trials on that very shortly here. So hopefully the results are what we think they will be. So the weight will not drop as much, but what we're really looking at is fat loss and muscle up, not just weight. Because as we all know, weight is not an indicator of health. It's just an indicator of how much you weigh. It's kind of like, hey, the people all the time like, well, how many milliliters or how many units is it? Well, that's an indication of volume, not an indication of the quantity of the medication. So there's more than just weight in our lives.
100%. And I love that it helps with muscle because let's talk about what does muscle represent in life as well and why it's important. Of course, we know that it reduces all-cause mortality, the more muscle that you have, right? the better brain function you'll have. But also feeling strong gives you that will and that grit in your life. When you feel physically confidence, as it just, if you are weak, you feel weak.
Yeah.
And you just carry yourself through the world in a very different way. And that's why I think it's important to look at also what's the spirituality of muscle, right? It's strength, not just in your physical body, but it's strength in your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you that determination to keep going in life. You feel better. You feel like, oh, I'm strong. I can do these things in my life. And I think that's why all of these molecules, all of these peptides, these chemicals, they are sacred. They are sacred medicine. I call all medicine sacred medicine. There's a place for all of it. And what does it do? It gives people the ability to live a life, to do what their calling is in the world. And when you provide people these molecules, when you provide people systems to get stronger, to be at a weight that makes them feel comfortable and happy, to have better brain cognition, to help with their tendons, you're giving them more than functionality.
I mean, bone density.
Bone density. You're giving them life.
Bone density. Movement. As soon as you stop moving, the body shuts down.
Yes.
So you need to have muscle to move.
Mm-hmm.
So stop focusing on weight. You're not trying to hit 120 if you're 5'5" or whatever it is. It's okay to be 135. Mm-hmm. It's about balance and how you feel and how you look. So if you carry more muscle mass, you may love the way you look even more, even though you're 10, 20 pounds heavier.
But you're stronger.
But you're stronger. And by the way, fat's this big in the weight, muscle's this big. So you could be heavier, but look skinnier. Essentially, right? Now, at some point, muscles can take over. You're going to look muscular, and unless you want that as a woman or a man. I mean, there's guys that they don't want to look my size. And honestly, I don't want to be this big normal either. I'm trying to keep my weight a little higher than normal because I challenged my entire office to do a bodybuilding show in January.
Oh, amazing.
For fun. I'm like, no one's going crazy. And I mean, you can if you want, but I'm not going to go like the crazy old days dieting for like a bodybuilding show where I just hate everybody, including my dogs, because I'm just so food deprived. But I thought it'd be fun to try and drag about 10 to 15 of them up on the stage.
That's great.
And, hopefully we can get some medals, and hopefully a few of us could be on the stand together and just team building, camaraderie. It's also good to test yourself, see how far you can put yourself through it, but not to the point of detriment, hopefully.
I love that.
But I'm like, okay, so I'm holding on a little more because I'd rather be probably 230, 235, so 247, 250s. That 10 to 15 pounds over that is, believe it or not, exhausting.
You feel it?
Oh, big time. Like
Yeah.
I feel it in like my cardio. I feel it in getting up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just heavier. I'm dragging around 15 to 20 pounds more all day long.
Yeah. The cardiovascular system feels it.
Oh, big time. I get shorter on my breath.
Yep.
I mean, even if I talk too much, I go, ooh, because it's trying to feed everything. So yeah, it's not a health. I don't like it as a healthy weight, but I only got to hold it for a little while longer, then I'll start trimming it off.
Yeah.
Because my weight for a just like a normal amateur type event, I'm going to do like what is it called? The Masters, where you do your age is involved in it too. So over 45.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only be, I think, 218 or 220 for my height. So I got to shave 30 pounds off.
That'll happen easily for you, though.
I don't know where it's going to come from. I don't have much fat. Right. It's going to come off of muscle, unfortunately. But yeah, I'll trim back down. Then I'll feel like spring and light on my feet. I can dunk at that weight. Yeah. It'll be fun. Okay. So I've been looking at your jewelry. You have every ball on earth and every color.
I was looking at yours as well.
Oh, I call him my brother, and he's literally one of the nicest human beings on earth. Gabe and Danny are two brothers. And they own Happy Jewelers, and I've known them for 20 years, and they're family, and they've literally made me so much different stuff. And they created they're like, oh, we're gonna make like black diamonds, so this is like an all black diamond bracelet, and then they made me this. Beautiful. They know rose gold because I have a pink undertone to my skin. I have some Native American in me. Mm-hmm. So I always have red. So yellow gold always clashed. So they started making me all this rose gold. So I have all this rose gold stuff. Beautiful. But yeah, this is over the years, and don't kill me for this, but a lot of this stuff, they just like, here, we made it for you. Enjoy. I don't know how they do that. I mean, the cost of gold's through the roof.
Right.
They're just great human beings. And everybody that knows them goes, they're never going to go anywhere else. So, but yeah, but I do have a bunch of these as well. I'm just not wearing them right now because I've been on the road and I've broken a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
They snap on me and then I'm trying to find them because I don't want to let them go to waste. But what
them
do all these mean? I know there's meaning behind them.
Yes. So, everything that you wear can mean something. And it's really your intention on the energy of what you put on. And if you're going to put something on, why not put an intention behind it? Because as soon as you do that, you put energy into it. So there's many ways that these beads are looked at. And each person may have certain goals, like maybe somebody wants a little more communication skills, or maybe somebody wants good luck, or finances, or maybe somebody feels like they need more protection. So in my particular case, because I work with so many people throughout the years, I learned to wear a lot of beads. And what it does for me is sometimes they break off. Like,
oh my gosh, so many. And I'm looking for them. They're so pretty. I'm a big stone. Like, I have so much stones.
Oh,
and natural. Like, my whole house is filled with like plants everywhere. I have a whole live plant
wall
that I've plumbed into the wall. So you walk in, you're like, oh, that's fake. You're like, no, that's like 8,000 plants.
Amazing.
On a wall.
We need to do a show at your house.
We should. I can never get rid of it. People are like, why don't you move to like Newport, all this stuff? I go, because I have my home.
Of course.
Like, it's my home. In my bathroom, I literally cut through the floor. We dug down through the concrete, like it's like 5 or 6 feet down. We wrapped it, and I planted a live Japanese maple in my bathroom.
Oh my gosh, beautiful!
So when you're in the bathtub, it's all stone. Everything's stone or bamboo or whatever. So you're in like a cement tub, like natural earth, with this tree growing over you, with my bimini, which is like think of it like a hyperbaric chamber, but you can sit in water for the body. Recoveries through the roof. And I just sit in there and I'll FaceTime my girlfriend, or I'll, watch a podcast, or I'll just sit there and just relax. My dogs will be in there with me for 30 minutes to an hour. And that's like my peacetime.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. But I love real.
Right. Same. Yeah. Yeah. With the beads, when they break off, what I do, I get rid of them.
Okay. So it means it's time to.
Yes. Usually in mysticism or spirituality or energetic work, it means that it broke off something that needed to break off.
Or you don't need them anymore.
Or you just don't need it anymore. Or sometimes it will take on certain energy for you. And we can go there if you'd like.
I want to hear it. Let's go.
Okay. This is the first one that I speak about these things publicly. I usually reserve this for my private clients. Okay, so sometimes when you are a very public person, or if you deal with a lot of people, there's a lot of energy coming at you. Like we were talking about earlier, we all have to learn how to manage our energy. But sometimes there's energies from other people around. Maybe they admire you, but maybe they're mad at you. Maybe they feel like you have something that they should have. Yeah. These kinds of things, of course, they're not willing to put the same work in that you did.
I've felt that way in my life, and I've felt regret for it when I have felt that way, because it's so negative.
Right.
That person did so much to get to where they were, and they're doing great things. Jealousy is, it's not a good thing. And, the fact that you would have any negative feeling for somebody because they're successful or because they've done it, when you don't have any right to do that, it's so toxic.
Well, what makes it even more toxic is that any time that you are in comparison or jealousy, you're not seeing your value.
Exactly.
At that moment, you're blocking your talents. You're blocking your gifts, because instead of focusing on what am I here to do in the world? What can I contribute?
Focus on them.
You're focusing on what they're doing, and it has nothing to do with you. And each person has their sacred medicine to offer the world. And so the worst thing a person can do is be inauthentic, jealous, and competing with other people.
Well, I think anger is that way too. I let go of anger a long time ago, and like holding on to grudges, because you are the only person that's holding that. They have no idea that you're sitting there with all that anger stopping you. So I just let it all go. I just don't think about it. Like something bad happens. Obviously that happened for a reason. Learn my lesson, learn a little bit about who that person is, learn about whatever. And I just go, okay, move on. Now I know. And I don't hold it.
Good for you.
If you've stolen from me, if you've said negative things about me, that's your problem.
Good for you.
Yep. Took a long time though. It's the same thing with that. Like I came up poor. So like I envied people that got there before me because I'm like, I'm putting in the work. I've had the harder chance to do it. But one day I just sat there and I go, this is, like you said, this is doing no good. Why would I feel this way? And I learned to not think about those things.
The more ambitious you become in life, the less time you spend thinking about what the other people are doing. Because I ask people to become very ambitious. I want people to be supremely ambitious about their thoughts and their energy. Because when you become the most ambitious person about every thought you have, saying, I'm going to make sure every thought I have is either going to help me or someone else, optimize my body or help someone else optimize their body, do something good in the world. This is when you start to become a master of energy in your life and create faster what you want in your life. Because any time that you're spending criticizing someone else, that includes you, being judgmental about someone else, that includes you, being envious about someone else, you're stealing the time and energy from creating what you want in your life. And you know very well, we have a lot of systems we can use to extend our life, but we still will only get a certain amount of time and energy in this body. And so this is why I ask people, become very ambitious about your thoughts, about optimizing your thoughts and your energy, because this is how you get to live everything that is good in life. This is how you get to have everything. Why not have everything? Be deeply fulfilled mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, in your relationships, and have true bliss on this planet. You can have it, but you have to optimize your thoughts, and you have to not allow yourself to steal from your sacred medicine by entertaining the thoughts about the other people. And then the other thing about that with envy and jealousy, these kinds of things, or anger, especially anger, is that it's never the bite that kills you. It's the poison that lingers. And so we all get bit, things happen. But if we don't suck that poison out from the snake that bit us right away and get rid of it, that's what will kill us.